Hello, and welcome back to Sharing the Love. Today, we're sharing the love with the wonderful Mike Kelley. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Very happy to be here and thanks for having me.
So, to quickly jump into it, Mike, could you describe yourself with 5 words?
Resilient, grounded, observant, curious,
Mm,
intentional.
wow. And which one out of those 5 words speaks to you the most in the current phase that you're in?
Right now, it would definitely be intentional. I've been working very hard to do everything with an intention and to stay aligned with that. So I think that would be the biggest one for now.
Definitely, and that's so important, being aware of your intentions, because it feels like nowadays people are just on autopilot, right? So being truly intentional, I feel it's just a different kind of energy that you're putting out there in the world in terms of also being focused on what you want to receive back. So that's incredible. Alrighty, so let's jump into it. It's time for our love boat. So you know the drill, just say stop whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. Stop.
Alrighty.
See what we got.
Yes. Da-da-da-dum. And the topic for today is intention.
Really? Imagine that.
My first question for you is, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of intention?
On purpose, the term on purpose, just having a reason and a purpose behind what you do instead of like what you just said, being on autopilot, having a direction, knowing where you're going,
Right.
knowing what you want and what you're hoping for that situation. That's intentional to me.
Wow. And that's exactly what it is. It feels at the end of the day, it's just on purpose, purposefully, right? Doing something. And one thing that I know both you and I preach about a lot is purposeful living, right? Is actually doing the things that there's a meaning behind it. Because when we set an intention, there's a why behind that intention. Why do you think intention is important?
I think intention is important because it guides us. We have, instead of just going through the motions, like you said, we have a guide. We know where we want to go or where we are going, and then we can take aligned actions with that.
My next question for you is, how do you navigate intention on a daily basis?
Most everything I do, if not everything, has a reason, right? So it can be anything like sleep. There's an intention behind sleep, right? And when we go to bed at night is to get rest. It is to re-energize ourselves and to wake up refreshed so we can do it the next day. A lot of people just let their head hit the pillow and that's it. A lot of people turn on shows or music or TV with no intention, and whatever they absorb, they absorb. And if you want to live intentionally, if you want to be your best self and thrive and really live instead of just survive, I think intention is a really important part of that. And that's why I try to incorporate that into my daily life.
That's incredible. And honestly, on a practical level, I even think about this. For you to just put it out there, have a little note, which I'm looking at my little sticky note, which is my big why, or a vision board. You can have a physical reminder that puts it on top of mind, because as we were saying initially, that so many of us nowadays are living in autopilot. Dr. Nicole Lepere has an incredible book on that, which is called How to Do the Work. And the repetitiveness is obviously something that's programmed in our bodies. So the intention is so important. And I guess that comes off the back of awareness, right? Is being aware that we are in this cycle and that we want different, but that means now I need to do different. And what that requires is the intention. That's where we start. What do you think the opposite of intention is?
The word that comes to mind, and it's not a great one, but it comes to mind, I feel like it's blind, is just going through without understanding or seeing. And I love that you mentioned awareness. That's the next thing I wanted to touch on with that. I just did a workshop on awareness with a Reiki practitioner. I talk a lot about awareness and kind of going through the motions and being on autopilot. A lot of times things happen in our life because we're blind to them, right? We just don't see or we refuse to see. We don't have that awareness and self-awareness. And we don't understand what we like or what role we play or how things are working for us or against us because we just choose not to. In being intentional, you have to be aware and you have to see. You have to open your eyes to how things around you are working, how you're playing a role in that, how things can adjust. And I feel like it's hard to make any changes if you're not aware and intentional. I feel like those are both very key components.
Yes. I need to emphasize two words that you said, which were refuse and choice, which the
Mhm.
underlying connotation behind those is that it comes back to you that there is a choice. And it
Yeah.
does seem, and this is something we know within our field, that a lot of people are hesitant, not because of the cost of coaching, not because of the time commitment, not because of anything more than the confrontation part. And the confrontation of like being so honest with yourself and vulnerable with yourself and realizing I need to go through this to get out of it. And this is where the choice comes in. And so many times I feel I've experienced clients come in so scared to really face what's going on. And I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's not as big as it is in your mind, especially when you have the right guidance. And trust me, we've all and our audience have been through so much shit in our lives that we can overcome this or confront this or go through it. But again, it needs to be intentional. You need to have the awareness to be like, something needs to change. And now I need to put the intention behind it. And what is then the action, right? So if we were kind of to map it out, it starts with the awareness, then setting the intention, then the action that aligns. As you said, I really loved that you said, what do you then do with the actions to align them with that intention? On that, I heard this thing the other day, which I really wasn't as aware of, but that easy doesn't mean simple. So when you're saying now that simple, definitely there's a simple. I think life, there's a formula for everything in life. Honestly, if you from an energetic point of view, a spiritual, whatever it is, right? But
Yeah.
it's not easy. This is what we want to come, both you and I as mindset coaches, having gone through our own transformation. It's not easy. That's not what we're saying. But we are saying that there's a simple formula that you can follow to get from point A to point B. And the main elements or key elements, as you said, awareness, intention, and action to follow through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And making things simple is a big part of that too. We often overcomplicate things,
Yes.
especially if we don't have that intention. We have all these other factors that come in, and then we don't have that clear guide, that clear intention, what we want to align and do. And then we have 20 different things that we're doing. If we
Yeah.
have that clear intention, we have one task, one focus. Life might happen, but we stay on that same path, like you're saying.
And you're no longer looking, again, I think this is what we do in coaching that's very effective, is that we simplify in bringing it down. We always talk about small step, big priority, right? That we want to start with the smallest thing. And as you were talking now, you made me kind of reflect that intention comes hand in hand with consistency, right? When we're talking about, people are talking about discipline, they're talking about, we're not looking at perfection. People also talk about discipline being like, I have to do this every single day at this time, and if I don't do it, then I'm not disciplined. That's not discipline. To me, discipline is the
Yeah.
consistency of something, even if you fall off the bandwagon for a week. But what helps with the consistency is the intention.
And with discipline too, being intentional, right? You stay disciplined because you know what you want and you have that intention behind it. It's hard to be disciplined if you don't have an intention of what you're trying to do.
It's interesting you say this, because I also think about, and I was one of them, right? I want to be very clear. Whenever I'd see disciplined people, I'd be like, I could never be disciplined. I could never be disciplined. But you just hit the nail on the head. People who are disciplined just have a big enough why that they keep that intention front and center. And that's, for me, this is how I would say I'm now quite disciplined, because my why is so big that I can't just ignore it. I can't just look past it. So, what do you think matters more, intention or action, and why?
I think both are very important. If I had to pick one, I think intention, I would say, is more important because even if you don't take action today, but you have that intention, you might take action tomorrow. Whereas if you take action today, that doesn't guarantee that you ever will again. Both are very important, but intention might be a little bit more important because intention guides action, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's exactly what my breakthrough was as you were talking is it's the strength of the intention that then will move the action. So
Yeah.
the stronger that the intention is, the more likely that the action is going to happen, right? So many people have the intention of changing, Mike. So many people, they say, and then they come to you and say, why am I still in this position? Because what are you doing to change out of this position, right? Like, this is the one thing is the intention is there, and I see it. And for years, I see the intention there. Even for me, the intention was there for years. But it's like, what is it going to take to then materialize that intention into an action?
The intention is levels just like a goal. You have a big goal and you have the smaller step. You can have a big intention, but you need the smaller intentions to get there too.
Yeah.
You can have the intention of this is the big thing I want to do. What's your daily intention? What's your intention for that moment, that situation, that hour that will help you get there or you hope to help get you there, right? And that's where the intention and the action kind of fall off a little bit. If you have the big intention, something that came to mind, I played baseball my whole life, and my intention was to play as long as I could. But my daily intention was to enjoy the places I went to school and to have fun with my friends. And my daily actions didn't align because I didn't have the daily and the smaller intention. And then I lost sight of that big goal and that big intention behind why I was even in the place. I think there's different levels to intentions,
Yes.
just like goals, and they're all necessary to help get you there, just like small steps and habits help you get to goals.
There's an element of presence with those daily intentions instead of course, every level, as you said, is important, but the daily intentions allows you to be present in the sense of like, what can I do today? Because that's all I have. Who said you're going to live till 60? God forbid, but who said you're going to reach there? So, this element of daily intention, wow, Mike, because this is very important for people to know that this is all we've got today and this is what I can do.
Absolutely. And that brings it back to the awareness and the self awareness again and being mindful. And that was a big shift for me too. The power of now. Just really, I read the book, but then I really absorbed the book years later and it all made sense. And I've worked on this with clients too, of just being mindful and present. And then that builds the intention that gets rid of the overthinking sometimes. Because how can you overthink if you're experiencing everything and just being fully present in the moment, right? Just like you said, it doesn't exist. Whatever you're worried about doesn't live here right now. There's so many more things that you can enjoy and be grateful for and really appreciate in that moment than you probably did before when you're not mindful and there and present and being intentional with how you spend your time.
And this is exactly what a growth mindset is. If I could kind of, take a capture of what you just said in the last 2 minutes, this is literally what we preach, coming from a scarcity mindset or a victimhood mindset to a growth mindset, a place where you're not just doing it for the outcome. You're not just doing it, okay, the big goal is there. Of course, it's a big why and we need it, but it's also a huge part of just letting go and letting be, in the sense of right now is all you have, as you were saying. And I love that you said the gratitude part, because that, in my opinion, is the highest level of being that you can operate from. Is in a place of, wow, I love my life. And yes, I'm being challenged. And yes, we were just talking about this before we started recording, where, going through a rough entrepreneurial journey, and it's not easy, but the love that we have for our lives, not because we want to be the best coaches out there and all, but actually we love what we do. There is purpose, and we come back full circle to that purpose. That's why intention is on purpose.
When you're really aware and you're really intentional and you're in it and enjoying the process as much as you can with that growth mindset, opportunities present themselves or you can create those opportunities. If you're not, there are so many things that pass you by in those 12, 13-hour work days that maybe you didn't have to work 12 or 13 hours if you just sat back and appreciated the moment here and there and you were a little bit more grateful for being able to work Monday instead of hating Mondays, that sort of mindset.
Definitely. So, what's one tip that you can give to our audience on intentionally navigating their lives?
I would say start small. When people make changes, they want to change everything all at once. They want to change their entire day. They want to, if it's being intentional, they want to be intentional about everything they do. If you can do that, fantastic, but not very many people can. So be intentional about one thing, one or two things. Try it when it's easy. With anything, practice when things are not difficult and build those habits and build that for when it gets difficult. That's really what it is.
Definitely. And if I can add to that, what's coming up for me is delayed gratification. As in, nowadays, we're so focused on the instant gratification, or like, I've meditated for 1 week, where are my results? Or I've done the affirmations, where are my results? You've been 20 years or 30 years talking shit to yourself. Not in 1 week or 1 year or 2 years is that going to change, right? This is very important, is the management of expectations when we are starting small and what we're doing. But something is better than nothing. Something, even
Yeah.
this is what I tell my clients, start with a 2 minute meditation. And they're like, who does
Hmm.
it? What's a 2 minute meditation gonna do for me? Then you see them build up and start to do 15 minutes after a few months. And it's like, wow, this is it. As you're saying, exactly. Start small, no matter what it is, no matter, it's the incremental changes. It's not the radical changes. It's the small accumulation of those incremental changes that you do. Even if it's something as simple as smiling to yourself in the mirror in the morning, as simple as
Hmm.
that. It's just, small changes, and that has a ripple effect beyond what our mind can conceive. This is on a subconscious level. For you to make a change, that's literally rewiring neural pathways. I love that that
Yeah.
was your tip, for our audience, to really just start small, and then it starts to build up without you even, you're like, how is this happening? Naturally, I was saying to my friends the other day, I would not have believed that I am a person who wakes up to the gym at 6 a.m. I would never, if you
Hmm.
told me, you would pay me for to believe that. And now my body moves naturally, even on the days I don't want to go. So it's also, that's the
Yeah.
part of the ripple effect that you don't realize and you can't account for, because of the shifts that you make that are on such a granular level, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talked about levels of goals and levels of being intentional. I think there's levels of gratitude or gratification
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
That instant gratification does not mean as much as something that you took 6 weeks or 6 years or 6 months to work
Yeah.
towards. You will really appreciate that much
Yeah.
more. And it will feel, it could be the exact same thing, but it will mean that much more for you because you put in that work. So
Yeah.
building that up will just increase that as well.
Exactly. What was your biggest takeaway from our conversation today?
I would say my biggest takeaway is how everything aligns, right? I think, and that's the word that you brought out, and when I was talking about being intentional, I think everything just plays in together. Whether it's habits or goals or gratification, gratitude, everything we talked about today works together, and it's all this very intricate process. And just to make that simple and be intentional and focus on the little steps, it all flows beautifully together. And you don't have to do it all at once. Everything's a piece to the puzzle. So having any parts of these, improving any parts of those will just help with everything we talked about.
And off the back of what you're saying, it's just beautiful, because you were talking before, when we are operating from a place of gratitude, we start to see the opportunities. And I see this alignment as an opportunity, as the universe telling you, Mike, the intention and the work that you are doing, keep on going, right? It's just cementing that idea. There's a deeper meaning, and I feel the fact that you got that out of our conversation really gave me goosebumps, because I truly believe that the universe is working for us. I want everyone to know this, that the universe is not against us. We just need to be in alignment with ourselves, with our values, having the intention, right, of that, and things fall into place. It will always fall into place with a pure heart and good intentions. I believe that. Well, thank you so much, Mike. This was an incredible conversation. Where can our audience connect with you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am on pretty much every social media, Reworking Mindsets or reworkingmindsets.com, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anything you can think of, I'm pretty much there under Reworking Mindsets.
Yes, everyone needs to go check this incredible human out, because you are truly, Mike, talking from a place of truth. I believe that everything that you are doing is being done with intention, with a purpose to help others, to shift their mindset, to kind of elevate the human experience, to start operating from a place where we want growth, we want connection, we want love. So please, everyone, go hit this wonderful man up. Thank you for joining. Everyone, like, comment, subscribe, the whole shebang. This is sharing the love, and we'll see you again in our next episode.